What's up, YouTube? It is your boy JB, and we are here tonight with the review for The Oval on BET, Season 2, Episode 16, and it's titled Familiar Faces, although that face that we saw was not familiar to us, but it was familiar to someone on the show. So, right, you guys, before we get into this review, if you guys are watching this video or any other video on the channel, and you're not yet subscribed, why are we still going out on this date? My bad, y'all. Didn't mean to burp. Why are we still going on this date? Do me a big favor. Hit that subscribe button. Hit the notification bell button. Light up all the buttons on the channel. And with that out the way, without further ado, that just hurt my eye. Without further ado, let's talk about The Oval, shall we? All right, you guys. So the episode, we open up, and it picks up where the last one left off. You guys remember that Priscilla had went into Jason's room, and she, Jason showed her the footage of Sam and Victoria in the yellow room, right? So Priscilla walked out of the yellow room, out of Jason's room. Victoria's like, what were you doing in his room? She's like, I brought him a snack. She's like, you should never be in his room alone. She was like, why? She said, because I said so. I was like, ooh, Priscilla, I know you're not gonna let her talk to you like that. I get that might be your boss or whatever, but you know what she's doing. She's playing with you, and that's exactly what she did throughout this entire scene. She fucked with Priscilla. So then Priscilla says, "Is there anything I can get you?" She says, "No." She's like, "I just got out the shower," and she's talking about the fact that she's like, your husband, he worked me out, basically giving sexual innuendos. But putting a spin on it, right? So then Victoria says, do you have anything that you want to say to me? She's like, well, what I say to you, ma'am? She says, I don't know, but your eyes are giving it away. She says, what are my eyes saying? Probably like, fuck you, you're a bitch, you're a hoe, stuff like that. She's like, and my eyes are giving you that? Priscilla, your eyes are giving her that, right? So then, this is when she said, she tells her that her husband is so fast that she had to take a shower. The fast comment, I'm like, that has its own different interpretations, right? Because if he's quote unquote fast, and we know she means sexually, is that a good thing? Because if he's fast, that would mean he's a quick pumper. But whatever. But like I said, at this point, Victoria is playing a game with Priscilla. And then she told her, you're really good. She was like, what do you mean? She's like, bring out you haven't brought the hood, Priscilla, yet. I was like, oh no, she did not say the hood, Priscilla, did she? So then, me personally, like I said, Priscilla's better than me because I would have beat the brakes off of Victoria's ass. Victoria would have got the brakes beat off of her, right? So Priscilla asked her once again, is there anything that I can get for you? She says, bitch, I don't trust you. So Priscilla says, huh? She said, you heard me. Bitch, I don't trust you. I was like, oh, Priscilla, you better than me. Victoria would have been on that ground picking her teeth up, seriously. So then Sam comes out of the room, and this is when she starts to dig deeper into this knife she got. She just digs it deeper into her, like she is just still digging. And also, Priscilla did mention to the fact to her that, Sam has told her everything. She's like, he's told you everything, huh? That might not be a good thing for his, just because of his job clearance, right? I'm like, oh, Victoria, I would have beat her ass. So then, eventually she told Priscilla to leave, right? So then she and Sam went into the yellow room, and Sam was like, actually when I got in there, Priscilla was like, I'm pretty sure, she's like, I think Jason may have told her what we did in here, right? So he tells her, he says, so were you antagonized? Basically, he said, were you antagonizing her? She says, no. He says, well, if you do that shit again, I will leave this job. I'm like, oh, okay, Sam, put your foot down. So then he leaves out of the yellow room, and he goes to the kitchen where Priscilla is. And when he's in the kitchen with Priscilla, he's apologizing to her, right? So I'm guessing at some point in their lives, something similar to this happened. Not quite as similar. He didn't cheat. I don't know if he necessarily cheated on Priscilla, but there was a girl named Anita that he fell head over heels in love with. He was in the military and she was in college. I don't know how Priscilla can still be upset. I don't know what the parallel was because I didn't really understand it. She never said they broke up at some point. She never really explained what happened. But she said, she tells, and then she also told Sam that, no matter what she was going through, if it was just a personal reason or if it was a medical reason, Sam should have waited. I'll give you half of that, right? If it was a medical reason, absolutely. Even if it was a personal, but the thing is with Priscilla should have conveyed the messaging. You should have talked to Sam. You should have told Sam, hey Sam, I'm just, instead of, I mean, hell, you didn't have to have a physical penetration. You didn't have to have penetration with the man. He even asked you just to suck his dick, jack him off. He asked you for that, and you couldn't even give him that. That's what the issue. That's where my issue comes in, right? You don't have to, like Ashley Darby said on Real Housewives of Potomac. You got other hoes. Just saying, you got other hoes. But let's move on. All right, you guys. So then we see Victoria. So Victoria went back over to Jason's room and she asked Jason, "What did you tell her?" He says, "Get out of my room." And then she says, how do you even sleep at night knowing that you killed a girl? And he says he can sleep well. I was like, damn, you killed more than one person. You killed 3 people in a span of how many? I mean, it ain't even been. See, here's another thing where I'm still stuck on. What is the timeline for this show, you guys? I want someone just to please tell me what is the timeline, because I still haven't figured that out. 2 seasons into this show, I still haven't figured out what the timeline is, right? Are we? I know we're not. I know we're far past the inauguration, but what day are we on? Because even Donald talking about it, that Hunter hasn't been in the office that long, which we'll discuss that. But how they haven't been in the White House? I don't even think they've been in the White House at this point a full week, right? I don't think they've been in the White House a full week at this point. And he's managed to kill Denise. He's managed to kill Maud. And he's managed to kill, what's her name? Jean. He's killed 3 people in this short amount of time, which is really scary. Yikes. That little nigga needs to be hugging himself in a straitjacket, right? He needs to be in a padded cell hugging himself. So then let's move over to Kareem and Sharon, right? So we see Kareem and Sharon, they're at the pharmacy. So Kareem is watching the footage of the night before, right? So he notices that Dale was in his car when Kyle pulled up. So Kareem is wondering if Dale is somehow bad news. But Sharon is like, no, I think Dale's a good guy, right? She gets good vibes from him. So then he's like, well, when Dale comes in, let him know that I want to talk to him. So then Dale comes in, and I notice, I'm like, wait a minute. Dale literally has on the same exact clothes he had on in the previous night, right? I get it that Dale lives out of his car, but he didn't change his clothes. Ew. Just putting it out there, right? So then he's talking to Sharon, right? So Sharon is like, she's asking him if he will go to the White House and talk to Richard. So Dale agrees to go to the White House, and she says, well, Kareem wants to talk to you. So then he went back there with Kareem, and he's talking to Kareem, telling Kareem how it was closing up last night. It was good. So then Kareem was asking him, like, what happened and if he's okay. And he says, yes, that I'm fine. And that was really pretty much it. I think Kareem still has a good eye on Dale, but whatever. Let's move on real quick. All right, guys, next let's talk about Donald. So Donald is talking to that idiot Hunter, right? So Donald, you guys know that Hunter wants to go and see the wreckage of the cabin that Lily and Bobby and Max have been hiding out at, right? So Donald is trying to talk Hunter out of going. But Hunter still wants to go and see it, right? Donald says, but this is something that we don't want the press corps to know about. So Hunter is like, well, tell them that I'm going to maybe one of the hospitals or one of the, I guess like the naval, the branches, like Fort Hood or something like that, I guess. He's going to go there. So, Donald says, well, you know what? I can make that happen. And then I'm going to talk about at the end of the episode about how stupid this is really looking, right? How technically he's spending the taxpayers' money for this, for Ellie. So then Hunter's dumbass, like I said, he wants to take Ellie to this wreckage. I'm like, for what? Okay. So then we do see Hunter. So Hunter goes and sees Ellie. He says, she tells him, like, I'm working, sir. He says, well, I tried to call you. She says, I know. She says, but, I've been busy fielding these press calls, right? He says, well, last night I sent out a drone and I want you to see the wreckage. For what? Hunter literally makes no sense, right? So he tells her, you're going to come with me. And when I call you back, you answer the phone. I don't like that. A white man telling a black woman that when I call you back, you pick up the phone as if like you're the slave master and I'm the slave. No, I wasn't really feeling that, right? So then let's move over to Nancy. So Nancy has gone to the White House to drop off some lunch for Richard. I'm like, Nancy, at this point, you're a glutton for punishment. Like, that's what I keep looking at when it comes to Nancy. I'm like, you are literally a glutton for punishment, right? Because you literally just told this man less than 24 hours ago that Picky is his father's son, ew, which makes Picky his stepson / his brother. Oh, wow. I literally just thought about that. That is his stepson / his brother. So while she's there, Frida comes in, and Nancy's like, Frida, can we and you have a conversation? Can me and you rap real quick? She was like, yeah. So they go outside, right? So she says to Frida, like, you know me and Richard were having, well, actually she was talking to her about, she says, I know that you and Richard were having issues, but she says, but you also knew that we're still married. Touche, Nancy, I'll give you that one. No matter what issues you and Richard are going through, you guys are still married at this point. And Frida, you were wrong. This is a married man. He has not filed for divorce. They're not in a divorce proceedings. So when Richard came to you, you should have told Richard, you still married, buddy. I might like you, but you're still married. And I ain't going down that road. I don't do that. I don't do that. Right? So Nancy tells her to leave him alone because they will still be married. I'm like, do you think so? You literally just told your husband that the kid he thought was his nephew for years is actually his brother and is actually his stepson. Yeah, I don't know how this is gonna work, sis. Don't know how this is gonna work. Where we at? So then Richard does come out, right? He tells her, go away, Nancy. If you come back here again, I don't have your credential, he'll revoke her clearance, basically. He says, do you know where Barry is? Have you heard from Barry? She says, no. And Richard says something that made a lot of sense to me, right? I get what Nancy's doing. She's trying to, make amends with Richard, but God, dog, Barry is missing. Richard even asked her, do you care that he's missing? Richard, I'm going to go out on a limb and tell you, I don't think she does. Because, damn, your child is missing. And you ain't made like one fuss about the fact that Barry is missing. Big problem for me, right? Like, I'm going to give it to Richard. I think the only person that's worried about where Barry is you, Richard. Your wife couldn't care less. But let's move on. All right, you guys. So then we see Dale and Sharon. So they're in his truck, right? And before they got in his truck, he had to take all his stuff out of his truck that he's living in his truck. And then, she had to climb in on his driver's side door. So as they're getting ready to head to the White House, she asked him, so do you live in your truck? He was like, oh no, I just have laundry that I didn't do. She's like, this is a lot of laundry. This is like 6 months worth of laundry. I don't know what 6 months worth of laundry. Sorry to spit, you guys. I don't know what 6 months worth of laundry would look like. Yeah, what the hell does 6 months worth of laundry look like? Who knows, right? So then she asked him, like, was he homeless? He said no, but then he said yes because, to get away from the rackadooshies, he just had to grab all his shit and go. So she says, well, I'll talk to Kareem and see if he will let you move in. He says, don't do that because Kareem already looks at me funny. Basically with the Kyle situation, right? So then they start talking about Kyle, how he's crazy, but he's crazier. And Kyle's met his match with Dale because he's dealt with bullying and all this kind of stuff growing up, right? So then she says, well, I'll talk to Kareem. He says, don't do that. But he says, even if you do, he says, I'm pretty sure if you ask him, he's definitely going to say yes. She's like, why do you think that? Because he loves you. She's like, how do you know he loves you? Because I know what love looks like. Okay, Mr. Dale, whatever. So then we see Donald. Donald's talking to Kyle. And he tells him that idiot wants to go to the site. And, Donald's talking about the fact that he can make it happen, though. If you can make it happen, why are you talking about it? I get, at that point, I'm like, okay, I guess Donald just wants to vent. But then this is where Donald was talking about that, he wants to take the barricade. Why would he? I didn't understand that. He didn't want to just take one of the regular SUVs because Kyle was like, I'll go get the SUVs. He's like, no, he doesn't want that. He's trying to impress that girl. It wouldn't work, right? So then at this point, that's where Donald was talking about the fact that he's been there. He didn't even say how many days he's been there, but he's saying that he's been doing all the work, right? And that's why I'm thinking, like, this has got to be at least what? They've been in the White House, I feel, at this point. I would have to go back and watch season 1. Because I could keep, season 1, I could actually keep up with it. Towards the end, I couldn't keep up with it. It was the first half, I definitely could keep up with it. But at this point, I think we have got to be, I want to say we're 72 hours in, right? 72? Or we could be. I know we're not 20. I know we're past day 2. I know we're past day 2. I think we're at least on day 3 or day 4. Might even be day 5. But we're still in the first. I think we're literally still within the first week of the presidency, because I don't even think at this point that we are in the first week of the presidency, right? We're in the first week of the presidency. We're in the first week. Because he hasn't even started his cabinet. Hunter has not even started his cabinet. He hasn't even appointed people to his cabinet at this point. So, my bad, y'all. Oh, shit. Yeah, we're in the first week. Literally, we're in the first week. This is ridiculous, right? But let's move on. All right, you guys. So next up, we see Bobby and Max. How long do I have? 1, 2, 3, 4. Okay. So we see Bobby and Max, right? So Bobby and Max, they finally make it to their location. So this is a friend of Max's, right? Her name is Blakely. So she comes out holding a gun. I was confused for about 5 seconds, right? Because she kept asking who they were, right? Max kept telling her it's Max. And she kept saying, who is it? But then she eventually dropped the gun. So I'm assuming she was fucking with Max for a few minutes just to get him riled up, because when she first came out, she literally looked like she didn't know who he was, right? But then it eventually looked like she knew who he was. So I was hella confused, right? So then let's move back over to Sharon and Dale real quick. So Sharon and Dale, they made it to the White House, and they're at the station to go in, right? So Alonzo asked them for their IDs. Now, before Alonzo could even get the IDs, nutcase ass Kyle comes out, right? So Kyle is asking them, who are you? Like, what are you doing here? Sharon's like, well, I know Mr. Richard, and his son is missing. So, we came because he might know a little bit more information that can help him. He was like, he can't speak for himself. He says, yeah, what she said. So then he asked him another question, and he was like, basically, in a nutshell, the questions that Kyle was asking and whatever Sharon said, Dale repeated basically what she said, right? So then we see, when Max and Blakely That scene went on too long, right? Because I didn't really get much from that scene because she was asking him, why is he, what's going on? He said, well, let me get dressed and I'll tell you. Then she's like, we've slept together before and before your wedding. So then she asked him, how was his wife? Actually, she said, how was that broad? Those are her actual term. How was that broad? He says, we're going through a divorce. And where we at? So then she says she wants him to fill her in on what's going on. So he says, well, it's a long story. You ain't got nothing but time, buddy. Tell it to her, right? So then we move back over to Sharon. So Sharon asked Dale, what was that? Why are we so snappy with Kyle? And he was like, you said it when we got here. I'm just so happy to be at the White House. Nope, that wasn't what it was. So then Hunter and Donald walked by. Hunter stops dead in his tracks and goes up to Sharon. Hunter straight up starts flirting with her, asking her, who is she? She tells him who she is. Then she said the butler, right? Then at one point she said Richard's name. He said, who is that? And ooh, oh, I got the hiccup. How did I get that? He said the butler. She said the butler. She said Richard's name. He said, who is that? Donald had to tell him, that's the chief butler, right? So then he asked her, what does she do? She said she's a nursing student, which I did not know that. Did you guys know she was a nursing student? I never knew that. Never knew that. Here's another question. How the hell old is Sharon supposed to be playing? Please, that's the one thing that I always trip off of, right? Because when you think about the haves and the have-nots, the fact that Candace, Benny, Mitch, all of them, Candace, Benny, Mitch, Jeffrey, Madison, all of them, they were supposed to be in their early 20s, right? So I'm wondering if Sharon and them was supposed to be in their early 20s. Okay. If you want people to play it, never mind. We're not even going to talk about it. We're not going to talk about it. We're not going to go into it. So let's move on. So yeah, he started flirting with her, saying she should work there. Then here's a confusing scene, right, for me. So he asked her for her phone. He got her phone. Then he started typing in her phone. He says, I'm going to call you from my personal phone. And I was confused, right? I'm going to tell you guys why I was confused. Because he said, I'm going to call you from my personal phone. But then he asked her, is she going to use his number? So I was like, what did he do? Because from what I saw, it did not look, because he was doing this. He was typing. Like, that's what he was doing this entire time. Like, he was typing. So I'm like, did you send yourself a text message from her phone? Like, that's what I was thinking. Maybe he sent himself a text message from her phone. So then he was like, let's take a picture. So he takes a picture, a selfie of them. Dale tries to get into the picture. He pushes Dale all the way out of the picture. I'm like, God dang. Dale's like, he was flirting with you. It's like I wasn't even there. Meanwhile, Donald is giving Dale daggers in his body. So, she's like, what was that? He says, I don't know. That was real, wasn't it? And then he was telling her that, he likes black women. I'm not even finna go there. Let's move on. All right, you guys. So we're about to wrap up the episode. So we see Lily. So Lily calls Bobby. And when she called him, he answers the phone and she tells him, I'm sorry. She also tells him, like, Bobby, like, I really like you, but I don't want to lose all that I've worked for, which I understand her right there. She's worked hard for her career. And she doesn't want to lose it. And she also wants to live. She wants safety. He says, so you feel safe there? She says, I do. I was like, I don't know how, when your husband literally tried to kill you. But hey, again, I don't get it. So then we see Richard, right? So Richard, he came out and he talked to Sharon and Dale. So he tells them that, he hasn't heard from Barry. So then, she says, well, and then Dale chimes in saying, well, I told Sam where I think the Rackadoochies are. He's like, well, can you give me like an address? He says they don't have an address. He says, but I can't give you the highway marker where it is, right? So then Richard's like, okay, give me that. I'm gonna get off of here in a few. He says, how far away from me? How far away is it? He says, about 3 hours away, right? So then he says, well, I'm gonna get off here in a few hours. I'm gonna get off here in a few, and then I'm gonna go up there. And she's like, they were like, are you going by yourself? He's like, yeah. They were like, I think you should call, call for, some kind of backup. He says, this fool is taking a selfie with Ellie. Yeah, so apology guys. I'm looking at the little preview clip for next week's episode. It's on the television right now. So where are we at? Where am I at? So yeah, so Sharon and Dale, they talk Richard into letting them go with him. I don't know if that's a good idea with Sharon being pregnant. Don't know if that's a good idea. So then we see Lily. So Lily has pulled up to the cabin, right? And then she notices nothing's there. So she calls Bobby. And then the Secret Service comes up, right? Asking her why is she there. She says she comes up there to go hiking. So then the Secret Service escorts her down. And then we see that damn barricade pull up with Hunter's dumbass. I'm like, this fool went through all of this just to see that? Okay, Hunter. You are literally the biggest dumbass I've ever saw in my life. But that's the episode, you guys. Let me know what you guys thought about it. Leave your comments in the comment section below. Subscribe to the channel and hit the notification bell button so you guys are notified when I drop anything else, and share the video. And into the next one, you guys. Stay safe out there. Take care of yourselves. Remember to wash your hands, wear a mask or not. Please wear a mask though. I would just say be safe. Be on the safer side, right? With this Delta variant. Be on the safer side. And until the next one, like I said, stay safe. You guys take care of yourselves. Wash your hands, wear a mask or not. Subscribe. Be blessed. Be safe. Take care of yourselves. And just be peaceful, you guys. Protect your peace. I'll see you guys in the next one. Deuces.